Coming up. Coming up well. Gate rolling for Tab. It's the Len Smith Mile. We're just about right to go. There goes the light. Racing in the Len Smith Mile and getting away well with Spirit of St. Louis. MacDan off the arm okay from the deep. Narano showing any amount of early speed from South Coast Arden. Better Eclipse, and there's Rock and Roll Do. 3 wide and pressing forward. Behind them then is Zeus Bromac, followed then on the inside by Hurricane Harley, Hot and Treacherous. And the Boulder Pete Said So went to the tail of the field. Rock and Roll Do still out there 3 wide. The leader is Spirit of St. Louis as they run inside the 1200. 28.3 the quarter. Leads out by 4 metres now on Rock and Roll Do, who works up to park without cover. MacDan gets the box seat and they will follow next into the 1-1 Narano. 3 markers is Zeus Bromac and then South Coast Arden. 3 back in the moving line. Covers up Hurricane Harley. Next of all, getting well back in the field here is Better Eclipse in company with Pete Said So. And Hot and Treacherous is last of all, about 25 to 30 metres off the leader. They're halfway home in the Tab Len Smith Mile. 28.4 the quarter. 56 and 7 the half, and the leader is Spirit of St. Louis by 3 metres. Rock and Roll Do is sitting parked second. MacDan is having a great run. 1 out and 1 back is Narano. 3 pegs Zeus Bromac. They were followed by South Coast Arden, who's also had a good trip from Hurricane Harley. Better Eclipse has got a long way back as South Coast Arden lets rip with its run. Behind them Pete Said So and Hot and Treacherous as they run to the home corner now. And the leader is Spirit of St. Louis, 2 metres clear. Second at the moment, Rock and Roll Do. MacDan sweats on a run. Narano peeled out 3 deep. 4 deep was South Coast Arden. 28.2 the quarter. Spirit of St. Louis the leader. Back to the inside, MacDan. Narano winds up. Rock and Roll Do still giving something. Rock and Roll Do in the middle out after Spirit of St. Louis. Spirit of St. Louis and Rock and Roll Do in a soul-stirring struggle. Rock and Roll Do put the nose in front. Rock and Roll Do. Rock and Roll Do's tipped out Spirit of St. Louis. Narano a big run third. They were followed by a wall of horses for first 4 players, including MacDan. Up there was South Coast Arden, Zeus Bromac, then Hot and Treacherous, Pete Said So, Hurricane Harley. Better Eclipse was back between runners on the outside, but in a photo finish I reckon Rock and Roll Do will get it. It has. Number 8, Rock and Roll Do wins it, probably by about a half a head, in a great battle with Spirit of St. Louis, who runs second in another big race.